the February 2014 edition of MPS Today. My name is Scott Cochran, Social Studies Curriculum Specialist and host of the show. Today we'll be meeting some of the most dynamic student groups in our high schools, the Dow High School debate team and the Midland High School yearbook staff. We'll also hear from our high school counselors as they join us for the February Counselors Corner. Remember that we've moved on Charter Cable. We are now on Charter Channel 190, and you can also catch our show on UVerse Channel 99, and all of our programming is on our YouTube site, www.youtube.com/user/Midland Public Schools. And remember, if you go to the YouTube site, you can subscribe. Just hit the red subscribe button, and you'll get updates whenever we post a new show. Now, our first guest today, our Dow High School debate team coach, Amy Bushy. She's also a teacher at Dow High School. And debate team members Sam Ungerleader and Vikram Shankar. So Mrs. Bushy, Sam, and Vikram, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For having us.
You bet. Well, let's start off by learning a little bit more about each of you. Mrs. Bushy, how long have you been teaching and what do you teach?
I've been teaching about 17 years. I teach economics, and then in the fall I teach debate.
Okay. And what got you into debate?
I kind of inherited the program when I student taught at Dow a long time ago in speech and communication. The director of the debate program got me involved in it, and I loved it. I had a background working for some politicians in town, and it was a good fit. And I just fell in love with it and took it over when he retired, and have been with it ever since.
And on it's gone, right?
Right.
Now, Sam and Vikram, tell us about yourselves. What year are you in school this year?
Well, I'm a senior, and I've been at Dow 4 years, my only 4 years in MPS.
Yeah, okay. What brought you to Midland?
I actually a very avid tennis player, and Dow had a great tennis program, so it seemed natural to me to want to come to Dow, and I've enjoyed my 4 years here.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of success. I mean, isn't it? You can't have much more success than you guys have had.
Yeah, we've won 4 state championships, been lucky, having really good teammates. Coach Schwarzkopf's been a great coach for us. So, had a good run at Dow tennis.
Yeah, no doubt. And Sam, how about you? What year are you?
I'm a sophomore, and I've been at MPS in and out throughout my my educational career. I moved to Texas a few times, but
Okay.
I've always seemed to come back to MPS.
Yes. All right, and it's good for MPS, right? Now tell us about your favorite subjects in school. What do you enjoy most?
My favorite subjects are definitely mathematics, logic, something that's always come a little bit more naturally to me than the other subjects.
I really enjoy sciences. I think that exploring the world around us and kind of investigating the intricacies of our world are really interesting.
Sure. So where are you guys headed? So you're graduating this year, and not too much longer for yourself, Sam. So what are you guys thinking about doing when you leave high school?
I'm not too sure exactly what school I'll be attending, but I know I want to major in that area of computer and electrical engineering. It's something that I took a AP Computer Science class at Dow. I really enjoyed that. So it's an attractive field. It's a growing field with, I think, a lot of potential for a lot of new discoveries, and so that's where I'll be heading.
Okay. And how about you, Sam?
I have kind of an idea about 2 majors I would possibly pursue. One would be maybe a pre-law major or economics. I really enjoyed my economics course this year, and of course, debate sets you up in one way or another for possibly a career in law. But the other is, again, I really do enjoy the sciences, and so there's a possibility that one day I might want to pursue a career in one of the sciences.
You have a lot to think about, but you both have plenty of time to figure it all out, so we'll be there soon enough. Well, let's talk about debate. Sam, why don't you tell us a little bit about the debate format? What does it look like?
So debate is a great educational activity. We have 2 teams of 2 people in every debate round, which is essentially one competition.
Okay.
And the teams go back and forth about a specific topic for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on a few variables. And the speeches are ordered so that both teams go back and forth.
It's very structured.
Yes, it's a very structured competition. Everyone knows what they have to do, when they need to do it, and really just lets you evaluate, how am I compared to my competition? What can I improve about myself and my team? It's very structured.
And how long are you talking for any one time? You said that it goes back and forth a number of times. Is it 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 20?
So each person in a debate, and there are 4 people competing in every debate round, each person gets 13 minutes of overall speaking time.
Okay.
They get one speech which is 8 minutes long, and another speech which is 5 minutes long. And then, of course, they also get some time to cross-examine a member from another team, which means essentially that I would ask Vikram questions about what he just said, and he would give me some answers. And that's really a really crucial point of the debate, because
I imagine so.
it allows us to see more what our competition is saying.
So do you ever have a time when you're asking questions when you know you've got them? Okay, this is it.
Absolutely. That's one of the best feelings when you know, oh, I've just gotten some very valuable information.
Yeah.
That I can probably
What about the flip side? Ever happened that they ask you a question, you're thinking, oh,
Yes.
I was hoping you weren't going to ask that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Happens both ways.
All right. Well, how many competitions a year do you typically have, and how long is a season?
So we generally have about 8 competitions a year. However, no team member goes to all 8. Usually,
Okay.
team members go to anywhere between 3 and I'd say 6 competitions.
So if I hear that debate, the Dow High School debate team just had a competition yesterday or has one this weekend, is it just 2 students that are performing or competing, or is it?
No, generally Dow brings quite a large group of students.
That's what I thought, yeah.
We can bring anywhere from maybe 8 to 12 or sometimes 18 students, depending on the weekend and how big the competition is. So it really depends, but usually we travel in larger numbers.
But the face-off, the face-off for the debate is in pairs,
Yes.
so there'll be multiple debates going on at the same time.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And then is it kind of like a tennis match? You get 1 point for whoever wins that one, and then you add up all the different matches
Yes,
that are
we
going
go
on.
on. We go on record. So at the end of the tournament, there will be some 5-0 teams, 5 wins, 0
Oh, I
losses.
see. Mhm.
Some 4-1 teams.
Right.
All depends.
Yeah. And Dow is always 5-0 or 4-1 or something.
We hope.
That's the idea,
That's
right?
the goal.
Go.
Now, the topic is always on the same topic all year long, or is it changed?
Yes, the topic is constant all year long.
What was it this year?
The topic this year involved economic engagement with 3 countries in Latin America: Cuba, Mexico, and Venezuela. And it really focused on the Cuban embargo was a big topic this year under that resolution. We had some energy affirmatives such as oil, hydrocarbons, and then some Venezuela asks focused on democracy promotion and all of that.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with those countries.
Yes,
isn't there?
absolutely.
So those are well-chosen topics. Now, Vikram, when you enter a debate, are you choosing which side you want to represent, or is it a side assigned to you? How does that happen?
So generally the debate tournament has 2 parts. There's prelims, which Sam referred to, you get your record, and then there's the out rounds where the top team will advance into a bracket-style elimination competition. So in the prelims, the tournament will assign you a side. You'll get a room number. You'll be assigned either the affirmative or the negative, and you'll just go from there. When you get to out rounds, you'll generally flip. You flip a coin. Winner of the flip chooses which side they'd rather be, affirmative or negative.
So you can choose at that point.
Yeah, hopefully.
And either choose or the other side chooses, right? So this year, for you guys, has it been a side that you feel is your stronger side, or that you?
I personally prefer affirmative. Affirmative means Mrs. Bushy and the team members spend a lot of time writing our affirmative case, which is basically the policy that we want to propose for the year. So because we do a lot more research on the affirmative, because we have to write the case ourselves,
Sure.
we know the topic a lot better, and we usually run what are known as small affirmatives, which means they aren't very popular in the debate community, but there's some pretty powerful stuff. We talk a lot about Native Americans and the harms of the colonialism, imperialism.
So not to give away any strategies, but it sounds like if you're on the affirmative side, you can kind of set the ground that the debate's going to stand on.
You'll set the general topic area, and then the negative will get a chance to a little bit to shift that based on how they want to argue it's bad.
Yeah.
But we have a lot more topic knowledge than the negative does, so it sets us up to put us in a winning position.
Is there somebody on your team that you think is really great at arguing the negative side, that is really good at deconstructing the affirmative of other sides?
I'd say Nick is probably our best negative debater. He's very good on the logical aspect of just hitting the holes in other arguments and coming up with potential negative strategies. He was the guy in charge of our negative this year.
Okay.
I also think Vikram is pretty good debating on the negative, because what happens on the negative is, while you do have to shift to what the affirmative is saying, you control the speed of the debate, and Vikram, I think, does that really well, where he can kind of slow down the other team to what he wants to do, and then kind of sets his strategy based on how he knows he can set himself up for a winning position.
Sure. Well, I can tell you this, I don't think I want to get in an argument with any of your students, that's for sure. But do you find yourself taking any of the skills that you've learned in debate and applying them in other parts of your life? Certainly, I mean, we say it laughingly, but with regard to arguments or disagreements with people, but also in any other areas.
Absolutely. Actually, writing college applications, I wrote a lot about debate and helped me reflect on how it's helped me. The first is the thought process. Debate kind of gives you a structure in how to think about problems. Mrs. Bushy in my debate class taught us about like disadvantages, which are a type of debate argument. But really, the thought process that she taught us really applies to any situation. There's the uniqueness. Is the problem unique to the situation you're in, or is it something that's rather ubiquitous?
Yeah.
The link. How exactly does a problem relate to the situation I'm in, and the impact? What's ultimately going to happen? And when you think about real world problems in that mindset, it really allows you to evaluate different disadvantages pretty effectively and come to conclusions as opposed to floundering on issues.
So decision making is something.
Decision making and even logic, you're forced to make sure
Yeah.
points follow. There's no holes in your logic. That's a big part of debate, and it applies. Like I've gotten exponentially better at writing essays and argumentative papers, and it's really helped me
Sure.
in all parts of school. Mrs. Grahalski, my history teacher last year, said that usually the kids that debate and go through her class perform a lot better on the argumentative essays than the other kids do.
That would make sense. Yeah, I can see how we could tie over to that and tie over into anywhere that logic is required. Computer programming, in the sciences as well. It seems like they do some nice tie over too.
There's also an interesting thing. Vikram talked about the essays and how debate really helps him with those, but I think in addition, critical thinking is such an important part of debate, and that's the area where I've seen most development since becoming a debater. In the debate format, you only get 8 minutes to prepare your speeches, and that's spread out across the entire competition round. So usually you only get a minute to 3 minutes to prepare a speech.
Sure.
And that's really difficult when you need to come up with 5 minutes or 8 minutes of things to say in only 1 to 3 minutes. And things specific to the IB curriculum, such as the speeches you need to give, I think debate really helps you with those, and in general, just your presentation skills
Sure.
and critical thinking.
Because no matter how much preparation you do, and I know you guys do a lot, you have to be able to think on your feet too. So you're not just getting up and performing something that you practice. You have to respond.
Actually, debate teaches you a lot about research. That's one of the things that we spend a lot of our time doing.
Yeah.
So I'm able to research more effectively, I've found, at least, than a lot of my peers who haven't had as much experience with research.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that, because for years, the Dow High School debate team has had a reputation of using more paper than any other club in the district. So, and I know that's changing. So let's talk about why was that? What kind of research and preparation do you do? But also, what are you doing differently now? So that's changing and shifting.
So there's a lot of research involved. I talked earlier about writing our affirmative means. We spend a lot of time searching topic area. I mean, we read articles in newspapers, magazines, scholarly journals on anything relating to economic engagement in Latin America. A lot of times that even, especially this with international topic, that relates to even countries with China, India, Russia, and how they interact with the topic. And actually, debate requires that you actually read the evidence in the rounds directly from the article that you've read to prove your point and allow the opposition a chance to analyze exactly the words that are written and make sure that you're not spinning it another way. So because of that, for years we had to print off all these articles, and we're allowed to obviously choose a section of the article, but we had to print them off. And the economic engagement in Latin America is a pretty wide topic, as are all topics. So that requires we be prepared to be able to compete at a tournament. You have to be prepared for a myriad of cases. So that's the reason for all the paper usage. Lately, the debate community has shifted towards paperless format, which means we use our laptops. We still have all the same research. We just don't print it off. We're able to use a jump drive to transfer the evidence that we need to read from team to team, and instead of reading it off paper, we just read it off our computers.
Okay. Nice. And so are you completely paperless when you go to events now?
We are completely paperless now. Instead of carrying 3 tubs full of paper, we carry a couple laptops and a few jump drives.
All right.
And that's been a challenge for us this year too, because in addition to all the skills that they normally have to do to debate, they've had to use the computer and learn how to find files and share files between teammates, and we're using external Dropbox for the whole team so that we can all put our files up there.
Right.
So that's been quite an undertaking in addition to everything else. I've been really proud of the fact that we were able to make that transition and be really successful this year. And I give them a lot of credit because they teach me probably more about computers, because I've done it on paper for 17 years and I probably was more intimidated by the changeover than they were, but they've done an excellent job pretty independently of figuring out how to take all the stuff that we used to have manual tubs of that I understood how to organize and take my organization system, put it on the computer, and then teach me how to use it. So it's worked. I'm really happy, and the amount of paper we're saving is amazing. I don't carry tubs anymore, so.
The forests of North America.
Right.
So, well, and what about organizing those electronic files? I mean, you have to be able to, it sounds like you have to be able to find something at the drop of a hat. So.
Absolutely. So we'll break it up into type of argument. So is it something we're going to be using them around the affirmative or negative? Usually it's pretty specific. And then we'll break it down into where does it relate? Does it relate to China? Does it relate to India? Does it relate to Native Americans?
Sure.
And so it's just lots of subfolders to make sure we know exactly where we're clicking through it.
Right.
And I think it's been pretty effective this year.
I mean, it's hundreds and hundreds of files.
I'm sure.
It's amazing how they can quickly find stuff to watch them do it in the round.
Yeah.
They'll just get up there and they've got it. That's their generation.
So talk about the results. So you're near the end of your season or at the end of your season. What have your results been like this year?
Let me share. We did wonderful at the final Michigan Interscholastic Forensics Association tournament. We ended up placing second at Novice States. We lost on a 2-1 in the final round to Traverse City. Kids did a great job, and then we ended up beating the schools we needed to in varsity. While we didn't advance, our total scores, because they take novice and varsity scores from the season and put them together, we ended up winning the overall state championship in our division. So we've had a really good season, and it was a growing season for us. We had a lot of students that went from novice to JV, so that was a big change for them. And we brought on 8 new kids. We're up to 20 students now. So I'm super pleased with them.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, I'll tell you what, Mrs. Bushy and Vikram and Sam, thank you so much for talking with us about the debate team. It's very impressive results that you get, and we'll be excited watching all the great things that you do in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Up next, we'll hear from the counselors for the February edition of the Counselors Corner, and then we'll head across town to hear from the Midland High School yearbook staff. Stick around for more MPS Today right after this.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him opening his own clothing store at the age of 18? 1 in 138,000. Excited to be a part of pop culture, he packed for the big city. The odds of finding someone to invest in his vision? 1 in 4.5 million. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but things changed. Teaching didn't seem that cool anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Amazing things are happening in teaching, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Welcome to Counselor's Corner. My name is Craig Hawkins. I'm a counselor at Midland High, and this is Lori Hallberg, counselor at Dow High School. This month we're going to cover some of the important topics for the month of February. One of the main things that we do in February in the counseling offices is we go through this selection process where we help students pick the courses that they're going to take for the next school year. We meet with each person individually. And that allows us to really talk to the student, find out what, again, their goals are, what kind of classes they want to take, what kind of electives they'd like to take, and we go through that individually with them. And then, again, they can talk about that at home. We put that in the computer, and then that'll be an opportunity later, at a later date for parents to look at those courses that the students have selected. One of the things that makes it a little bit easier for our students is the core classes are recommended by their core teacher. So the English, math, science, social studies, quite often the world languages, if a student is in that, their teacher will recommend what is the most appropriate class for them to take in the next year. And then we go through those and confirm that with them, and then look at their electives and talk about what they're interested in, what their career goals might be, what their college readiness status is. You know, we go through all of that with the kids when we meet with them individually and go through this selection process. So it's an important time. We want that to be a combination of us, the student, the parents, and choosing those classes that are going to be best for them as they go through high school. And we do that with 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. We also do that obviously with the 8th graders and the 8th grade, the counselors at the 8th grade level do that as well. Another important part of February is our incoming 12th grade parent night. That's an important time for students. Parents want to know, what does my senior have to have? What do they have to do? We talk about the application process. We talk about colleges, many topics that are very important to seniors when you're going into that very last year. So that's another thing to look for in the month of February. We'll be publicizing those dates as soon as possible. Another pretty important thing for actually the month of March is we will be doing AP Advanced Placement registrations. Those students can then take a test in the advanced placement programs to earn potential college credit. Now again, that registration is done in the month of March, but we want students to be thinking about that whole process and are they going to actually register for an advanced placement test. So again, any questions on that, anything that we can help with in any of these decisions, we want to make sure that you know our doors are always open. We're always there to answer questions, especially as your students are picking those classes and you're helping them through that process. Because like I said, it is a team approach and we want us all to work together to make it the best opportunity for your student.
So looking ahead to the beginning of March, we have the MME for all juniors. It's 3 days of testing, and again, all juniors will be taking this test. The first day is the ACT plus writing, and that is a full day of testing. Students start at the beginning of the day, and normally it goes till about 1 o'clock. The second day is work keys, which is a component through ACT. And those tests include reading for information, applied math, and locating information. The third day is the Michigan components of the test. And there are additional tests for math, science, and social studies. So as we prepare for the MME, we will meet with all the juniors probably the end of February to do some of the pre-bubbling. And when we do that, especially for the ACT, the first day of testing, it is best if students use their Social Security number so that when they take the test, their scores will be stored under their Social Security number in case they take it again. The other thing that students want to think about when they're registering for that ACT part of the MME is selecting 4 colleges to send their scores to. If they go to the ACT test again and select different colleges, that's okay. And they can always go to act.org and send their scores to a different college. But the reason they want to think about 4 colleges for right now to send their score to is because otherwise there is a fee attached to this. The ACT scores are not on our transcripts. So all colleges that want the ACT score need to get that score directly from act.org. The other thing with testing, and this is really in March, but something to start thinking about, is for all sophomores. We will be doing the PLAN test, which is actually a practice ACT, but it also has a career component on it. And we really like giving this test because the career portion. There are so many different careers out there and many that students aren't even aware of. So we like giving the test, and then when we give back the results, we are in the computer lab and we help them to research different careers and look at what the test says they're interested in, but then also talk about what are their subject areas and other things that they are interested in. So the tests that we're looking ahead to are in March, but it takes everything that we're doing in February leading up to it. That's this month's edition of Counselor's Corner. Please join us again next month when we'll be talking about important information in March.
Which planet are we living on? Earth! Right here.
What do you think it would be like to teach?
They're all a part of our...
Chances are, you have no idea.
We're gonna turn the lights and everybody look up.
Teachers today are breaking down obstacles, finding innovative ways to instill old lessons, proving that greatness can be found in everyday places, and that you don't need to be famous to be unforgettable. That's what it's like to teach.
Welcome back to MPS Today. We made the long trip across town to Midland High School, and we're here to meet with the Midland High School Yearbook staff about the great work that they're doing. So we have our yearbook advisor, Becky King, also a teacher here at Midland High School, and student leaders Emily Riley and Haley Diamond are here to talk with us about the yearbook. So Mrs. King, Emily, and Haley, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Mrs. King, you've been teaching with MPS for how long?
This is my 14th year. I started with Midland High back in 2000, and I've been lucky enough to be here ever since.
And what do you teach?
I teach English. Primarily right now I have 1 hour of yearbook, and then I teach IB World Lit 1 and IB World Lit 2. So both the junior and senior year of the IB program.
Okay, great. Now, what do you love about teaching, whether it be the IB classes or yearbook?
I love the kids. I love the energy. It's such an exciting time in their lives that it's great to be a part of. I have to write letters of recommendation and have a lot of work, but it's a time in their life that they're never going to forget. And especially with the yearbook, that's a written record that they're going to have forever. So I think it's really important work that we do.
Sure. And the IB classes, the last few years that you've been doing those, how do you enjoy those?
Oh, I love it. We do a lot of literary analysis. We do papers and papers and papers, but the growth that I see, especially within the junior year, is amazing. And the real thank you is when students come back, or I get emails or messages, and they say that they were very prepared for college, or they can't believe that somebody in their college class couldn't write the assignment that the professor gave. And so I think that overall, Midland Public Schools prepares students very well, whether it's in English or other disciplines.
Sure, no doubt. Well, Emily and Haley, tell us a little bit about yourselves. What year are you in high school?
I'm a senior this year, and it is my 3rd year in the yearbook.
Right.
And I'm a junior this year, and this is also my 3rd year in the yearbook.
All right. And what do you like at Midland High School? What do you like to do in your classes or activities?
I'm avidly involved in different activities through Midland High. I'm a 2-year athlete, 3-year varsity track athlete. I do sports and I do yearbook. That's pretty much my year. I work too, so.
Yeah. And what do you do for track? What do you do?
I'm pole vaulter for track.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of an unusual event. You don't think there's not a lot of pole vaulters, probably,
exactly.
right?
when I tell people, they're like, that's different. And so it is. I'm used to it, yeah.
How long have you been pole vaulting?
Since my sophomore year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you enjoy it? Does it go well? Or?
I do. Me and another yearbook staffer actually are the 2 varsity athletes, so we're always together and we're a great team. It's
Great.
awesome.
Lovely. Haley, how about you?
And I'm a 3-year member of the varsity girls lacrosse team, and I'm also a member of DECA, which is a club here through Midland High, and Emily's also a part of it. And I just qualified for states this year, so
Oh,
it's exciting.
congratulations.
Thank
It
you.
is exciting.
And then I'm also a member of the swim team.
So that's great. Well, Mrs. King, tell us about the yearbook class. Obviously it's a class, but sometimes it probably feels like a club also.
It's a job.
It's a lifestyle.
It is. Yearbook is unique because it is a class, but it's really a co-curricular program where students are required to do work outside of class. And it's unlike any other class that students can be involved in. It's really run more like a small business. I tell the students at the beginning of the year, I really refer to them as my staff members, not my students, but I tell them at the beginning of the year that I am the boss. I have to make sure things get done, but it's their book. I created my book when I was on Yearbook staff when I was in high school, but it is their book, and they make all the editorial decisions. I take responsibility for the finances and all of that, but ultimately they sell advertising. We work on a budget together. Obviously that's my job, is to figure out the finances, but we run a budget of about $50,000 to $60,000 every year. So with that in mind, it really is a small business.
Sure.
And they sell advertising, and then they create the book online primarily, and make all of those decisions. And then, of course, we have to sell the product too.
Right. How many staff members or students do you have then?
Right now, we have 29 staff members, and that's the largest staff I've had. It has fluctuated anywhere between 18 and about 29, and this is my 6th year that I've been the advisor.
Okay. Well, it's quite a process, it sounds like, that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you organize that process? You start with nothing really, and then how do you end up? Now, are you producing a paper yearbook, a website, a DVD? I mean, what's the final product?
The final product is still a book. If you want to grab one. It's still a book that students will buy, just like the books from years ago that you would remember. And ultimately, the staff members who are returning will apply in April to become the following year's editors. And so, for instance, Emily applied to be editor-in-chief. And so in May, I tell the students that. And then we go to yearbook camp in the summer and design the cover and start working on what's called the ladder. And the ladder tells the students what is on every single page of the book. So we have to have that organized before we do any of the spreads. And if you look at the inside of the book, you can see that we just have a regular table of contents. So that's where we begin. We're really fortunate enough to have the publishing program through Wellsworth that leads us through everything we need to know. And it's like creating a personal photo book that you would create on Snapfish or Shutterfly or whatever. You upload the pictures and then you design the page. Obviously, it's a little more intense with over 300 pages than what you would create with a family book. But it's a big process. Haley has been my sports editor in the past. She's a group leader, and this year she's in charge of senior ads. So when I say it's not my book, I really mean that. It's their book, they make it. I'm just the one who oversees it all. And so I have group leaders and I have editors in charge of different sections. And then ultimately, even after Emily graduates, she's still on the hook for finishing the book. Yeah. And we finished the book probably in late June.
Right before camp?
Yeah, and then it's really the following week then we go to yearbook camp to start the next year's book. So our book is a fall delivery book, so it doesn't arrive until August. But what that does is it gives the book is complete. It includes graduation, it includes prom, it includes spring sports. Other schools do a spring delivery book, so they get the excitement of the end of the year. And students have their books before they leave for the school year, but they don't have the graduation, the prom, the spring sports. And sometimes they do a supplement, and that works out fine. But we've always done a full, complete book.
So you're looking for a complete record right at the end of the year, right at the end of the senior experience on what happened there. So.
And it is sad because a lot of the seniors go off to college before they get their yearbook. But I think the product is worth it.
Sure. Well, let's follow up on that with the roles that you play. So Haley and Emily, what are you guys doing with the book?
This year I'm editor-in-chief, and that I oversee everything that the staff does. I correct captions, I go over pictures, and basically this year I came up with the cover, and our theme is tradition this year. Comic Pride, a very special tradition is our slogan, and we use the aspect of Polaroids, and so that was the job at camp for Jamie Dawson and I, who is a group leader. And so I just kind of oversee in a lower level what Ms. King does. But in past years, I've been ad sales editor and assistant editor last year, group leader, and the past 3 years I've been top seller for ad sales.
So what is the top seller for ad sales for
You have to be over $900 to be first, second, or third place, and I have gone from the range of $900 to $1,100 since my sophomore year, when I started Yearbook, and you get cash prizes, so it's kind of fun in our eyes too. But yeah,
That's great.
exciting.
Haley, what's your role? I heard you're a sports editor. I heard that.
Right, well, my freshman year and my sophomore year, I was the sports editor.
Okay.
And then this year, I'm the senior ads editor, so the seniors and their families, they can purchase ads, and then I'll either design them or they give me a design and put them in the back of the book.
Sure.
And then I'm a group leader also, and so I kind of teach my group how to use online design, and they write captions, and I help them out with that, and it's really fun.
Yeah, so you sound like you're doing a lot of different things then. So
Right.
the ads must be fun. Working with
Yeah,
the parents.
it's cute to see all the young pictures of the seniors and then now how they've changed.
Sure. And then when you're doing your team leading, talk with us about that a little bit. How many people are on a typical team?
Well, in my group, there's between 4 and 5 people, including me, and I'm the leader. I kind of delegate to them what to do, whether getting captions or a quote for the pictures. And then they'll come back and they'll write their captions, and I'll give them a critique on like what they can do better, and then Emily tells us more critique on those.
Yeah. Well, we're just over halfway through the school year right now, but you've both been through this process a number of times. What are some of the most challenging phases of the year process?
I would have to say that you can say deadlines is one of them, because you have to have in, what is it, March?
Before spring break, we're required to have 122 pages submitted to the publisher.
And once you submit those, your book has to be in chronological order. I mean, there's no mess ups past that point as far as moving pages around. It kind of locks your book. It really does, because I always have to pay to get the pages back. So I would say deadlines, it can be a struggle, but if you keep up with the work throughout the year, then it normally goes pretty smoothly. But the more time you put into it, the easier it goes.
So as a team leader and as editor-in-chief and advisor, are you setting goals for each month? Do you have a timeline in mind that says by the end of September, October, November, or whatever it might be, certain things will be done?
We have our own deadlines per week. Starting second semester, captions are to be due on Wednesday, and the final spread is due on Friday, and that's just the timeline we go through each week. And so like Haley could be this week, and Katie would be next week, and it just goes week by week for different group leaders.
There's a lot of goal setting involved, it sounds like.
Right.
One of the things that I don't think that we've talked about is how the book is set up. And when Haley and Emily talk about being group leaders and the weekly deadlines that the students, the staff members have, is that we cover every week of the school year. And so you can see up in the corner, we have either months or the events that are going on. And we try to capture everything that happens within the student's life at Midland High. So it could be the big football game, it could be a band competition or a diving competition, or it could just be students who get together and are participating in their church's youth group. And so students are required to turn in pictures every week, and then from those pictures and from the generosity of other parent photographers or professional photographers, we are able to put the book together that really chronicles the entire school year.
So it's almost like a series of newspapers from the school year.
Right, right. And we interview students, and this features Rhapsody Rendezvous, and it's just it's a complete portrait, I hope anyway.
Yeah. So when you talk about, this is what you're talking about, when you talk about the captions and everything else to go along with all the pictures. That's a lot of work.
But it's worth it.
I bet. That's great. Well, what skills do you feel like you're developing? What opportunities have come out of the work that you're doing?
Personally, for me, starting sophomore year, being doing ad sales and being the top ad sales seller, I developed from that just the salesmanship skills. Selling your product and selling the ads in the first place, but then selling your book. And our book is the product that we create. Not only salesmanship skills for me, but leadership skills. Being the editor, I am supposed to, be a role model and lead to my staff in the class, and that has then given me the strengths that I need to decide what I want to do in college. And right now I'm attending Davenport University. I'm going to go for my marketing and entrepreneurship degree, and just kind of see where that's going to lead me. But so it's really just kind of carrying me on through life. It's just giving me amazing skills.
Excuse me. Yeah, absolutely. There's sort of an entrepreneurial spirit to creating the book, so you really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's kind of led you to where you're going now.
Exactly.
And how about for you, Haley?
Right, I would definitely agree with Emily. It's just kind of got me out of my shell a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's given me good people skills, talking with businesses, just getting comfortable talking in a professional manner, and just the selling skills, like Emily said, and definitely a little marketing. You have to convince some people to buy a book.
Definitely.
It is, and that's a real important life skill. We talk about educators. We're always talking about college and career ready.
Right.
Whether you're going to go to college or whether you're going to enter the workforce right away or whatever you're going to do, we want to make sure you're prepared for that.
Yeah.
And this seems like a class and an activity and a club and everything else that it's really going to prepare you in those ways.
I tell prospective students that it's a class unlike any other that they've ever taken or been a part of, because in a regular class, in my regular English classes, if a student doesn't do his or her work, then they get a 0 for the assignment, or if they do a poor job on an assignment, they can just move on. That can't happen with the book. And we have to pick up the slack where other people may not have fulfilled their responsibilities.
Right.
And there is no such thing as submitting an empty page. And we don't miss our publishing deadlines. We make sure that we meet and everything is ready to go. I tell them I won't let them go on spring break unless our pages are done.
That's something that's really striking to me as you talk is that it's very much a real world application. If we don't meet our deadlines, then our bosses will get upset with us, and there's consequences. And even more important than that, there's things that don't get done that need to get done, right? And it's the same thing is happening here, which is very much the way the world works.
I don't go to Yearbook as a class. I go to Yearbook as my passion and my job, and it doesn't feel like a class. We don't have enough time. That's about it. We need a lot more time.
Well, that feeling is not going to go away in your life. I can guarantee you that. But it really, that's great. It just sounds, it sounds like a job in all the best ways. That a job is a job.
And there's some negatives.
That's all part of it too.
We get food a lot. We're family.
There's definitely a family atmosphere to it, and we all bond. We always have a Christmas party, and this year we're having a Valentine's party.
So you have to come together.
Right. We all just like to be together. And
the best workplaces are like that too.
And you can't create a good all-around book without everyone pitching in and doing different aspects of it.
Right.
So that's what's really awesome about it when we have the family aspect, is because it just produces a better book.
You said something a little bit ago, Emily, that it doesn't feel like work because you enjoy it so much, and it's a great thing to hold on to as you move forward. Try to figure out what you want to do with that. There's always things about jobs that we have to just get through, but you really want to find something that you're passionate about.
That's what I'm hoping for, because going into entrepreneurship and wanting to do my own business, hoping that that's what it will give me, is kind of the yearbook aspect in the way it's ran, maybe, and the passion that I have for it, and I hope that stays.
That's great. And now, Haley, you have a little bit more time to think about these things. But what are your thoughts right now?
I'm definitely thinking about going into business and marketing. I really like that aspect of it. And in my marketing class, I see a lot of aspects of the yearbook, whether just getting the job done or convincing people to buy it. And
target market.
Right, all that stuff. I definitely see it applied in yearbook. So I definitely think yearbook is more of a small business than a class.
Yeah, great. Sounds wonderful. Mrs. King, anything else that we need to know about the yearbook?
We always want the hardworking students to join our staff. The book is only as good as the staff members who are there to help create it. So I would encourage anyone who's interested to join us, and if you're willing to work, we can teach you how to work on the spreads. So.
Great. And it sounds like there's a process that folks go through. When you first join, you're going to have to be led more, and you have an idea of what you need to do. You don't have to figure it out before you get there.
Yeah. But by the same token, I count on my returning staff members to be those leaders and to make sure that the process continues. It's very much that passing of the torch, because, again, I'm not the one who makes the book.
Right. So what a great opportunity for your students. And what a great job it sounds like you do. I tell you what, I'm so impressed. And there's certainly more involved in creating the yearbook than it looks like on the outside. So I'm glad we learned about that today. Thanks for all of your efforts.
Thank you.
Good luck the rest of the school year.
Thank you.
You bet. Well, thanks for joining us today. Remember that you can view the show on your cable channel 190 and on UVerse channel 99 and on our YouTube site, which is www.youtube.com/user/Midland Public Schools. So have a great day, and we'll see you next time on MPS Today.